What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Pro Wrestling Talk, brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram, coming at you once again here on the U to the Tube. So, just wanted to do a quick video to give a recap and give my thoughts on the AEW Battle of the Belts show that was in Charlotte, North Carolina at the Bojangles Coliseum, which I did get a chance to attend live. And there's a couple of good things and a couple of bad things as well, but overall it was a decent show. Now, I want to remind everyone that even though there were only 3 matches for Battle of the Belts, they did do some dark matches before and after Battle of the Belts. So the dark matches started at 7, Battle of the Belts started at 8, and then right after Battle of the Belts, they did some more dark matches. So it was pretty much about 11 o'clock, maybe a little after 10:30ish or so, after it was all said and done. But we still got a plethora of matches outside of Battle of the Belts. So when the time comes, y'all will be able to catch those on AEW Dark. But anyway, so I had a floor seat. I was actually on if you're facing the ramp coming down, I was 3rd row on the left side right next to the ramp. So I could literally reach out and touch a wrestler. I was that close. So really, really cool spot. Really cool spot. If you're able to get a floor seat near the ramp or, near the barricade, totally worth it. Anyway, one of the biggest bummers of this show was the line that I went through to, get my belongings checked, get scanned and, take my ticket. And I originally created a sign. I made a Riho sign that said Riho #1, and it had a picture of the Japan flag on there, the flag of Japan. And that's it. That's it. I was also wearing my Riho shirt as well, because, I was going to show my support for Riho. Riho was in the main event where they had her versus Britt Baker for the women's title. And when I got to the part of the line where they were scanning me in and everything, apparently the lady in the line that I was in was saying no signs. No signs. They obscure the view. No signs. And they confiscated my sign, and pretty much everybody else that was in my line, they confiscated their signs. So by the time I got into the arena, I didn't see a single sign, but about middle of the way, maybe 5 or 10 minutes or so before the show even started, I started seeing signs in the arena. And I'm like, what the heck? Why were signs being confiscated? So I don't know. Anybody that watches this that was there at that show, if you were able to bring a sign, let me know. And if it got confiscated, let me know, because I don't know what happened. I don't know if I just was in the unlucky line, due to a certain specific somebody that was taking and scanning folks in that line, but they confiscated my sign. And I literally showed them what was on the sign, and it still got confiscated. So my thing is, if the policy was going to be no signs allowed, because I can understand them doing something like that after the last show that they had in North Carolina, which was Greensboro. They had the idiotic fan that did the negative sign in the front row about Nyla Rose, and of course he got ejected. I can understand that, and my thing is, if they were changing the policy, no signs allowed, They should have posted something on the event, and they should have, while everybody else was lined out outside of the arena when they were doing announcements on, get your stuff out ready, they should have said no signs. We won't be accepting any signs. If they would have said all that and done all that in the first place, it would have been like, okay, cool, whichever. But no, I didn't even get a chance to get my sign back or anything like that. It was just confiscated. So really, really bad form on the event staff for that. Really bad form. That's probably the one big negative of this show. But just had to get that out of the way because that really frustrated me because I spent hours on that sign for it to get confiscated. But there is some good news that did happen along the way. But anyway, let's get to the matches. So Battle of the Belts was only 3 matches, 3 title matches. First up, you had the interim TNT Championship on the line as Sammy Guevara went up against Dustin Rhodes. Now, originally, this was supposed to be the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes defending the TNT Championship in a rematch against Sammy Guevara, but unfortunately, word is that Cody Rhodes had gotten COVID or a family member gotten COVID, so he wasn't able to compete. And with him being the champion, they weren't going to just, have him vacated. So they decided to do an interim championship. I guess kind of like how UFC does it. And Dustin Rhodes was his replacement. So Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara fought for the TNT championship. And of course, Arn Anderson was in Dustin's corner. And I have to say, this was a great match. Started off with a handshake. It was back and forth. And I have to say, I know Sammy Guevara, high flyer, young, very talented. But I got to give Dustin Rhodes credit. For his age, he can still do a lot of stuff in that ring. A lot of stuff. And he laid it all out. He was channeling Gold Dust. He was doing Code Reds. He was all over the place. Hit Crossroads, hit a couple of Crossroads. And there was even a table spot where Fuego del Sol pulled out a table. And Dustin Rhodes ended up putting Sammy Guevara through the table via a Canadian destroyer. It was awesome. It was really, really awesome. Awesome. I was kind of shocked that they did that because, just recently, last table spot involved Luchasaurus and Ray Phoenix, and of course, Ray. You saw what happened with Ray Phoenix. He had his elbow and arm dislocated badly. So, you would think they would have been a little bit hesitant about doing that table spot, but yeah, they did it. Both were all right. Both continued on. Sammy Guevara even hit a GTH on Dustin Rhodes. Still kicked out. This was a crazy match. Even had a funny segment where Sammy Guevara did the gun pose to Arn Anderson. Of course, Arn Anderson flipped him off. But, this was good. This was a great match. Mr. David Crockett was in attendance for this match. But it was just back and forth. Both hit each other with signatures and finishers. And it looked like Dustin Rhodes was going to do the Crossroads combos into the Tiger Driver 98. But of course, Sammy Guevara reversed it. They traded pin attempts. And then one last pin attempt reversal. And so Sammy Guevara was able to get the pin and the win. And Sammy Guevara is now your interim TNT champion. It was a great match. It was a really great match. And of course, both competitors shook hands, hugged after the match. Like I said, it was a great match. These two were awesome. Dustin Rhodes, great performance. Don't let his age fool you. He can still go in that ring. Dustin can still go in that ring. So, and it definitely showed in that match. And then, of course, after the match, Red Death, Daniel Garcia, came in, got in Sammy Guevara's face, and then they brawled for a bit. They had to get split up. But this sets up I believe Sammy Guevara is going to be defending the title. It was either on Rampage or on Dynamite. He's going to be defending that interim TNT Championship against Daniel Garcia coming up. So definitely looking forward to that. That should be good. That should be really good. But yeah, that was the first match of Battle of the Belts. Was really good. Second match we had was for the FTW Championship, as Matt Sydal got his shot against the champion, Absolute Ricky Starks, who was accompanied to the ring by Powerhouse Hobbs. Now, I have to say this was a pretty decent match. It started off pretty hot, especially with Matt Sydal. A lot of strikes, a lot of kicks, and just, it was pretty back and forth. But it could have been better, but it was a pretty decent match. But I really like these two competitors. Definitely like these two competitors. And, saw Matt Sydal hit Ricky Starks with the lightning spiral, hit him with a Michinoku driver. It was good. Like, he hit him with a lot. Wasn't able to get I was hoping for the shooting star press, but didn't go down like that. But at the end of the day, Matt Sydal was trying to do another move, and then Ricky Starks was able to catch him and then turn it into the Rochambeau for the victory. And Absolute Ricky Starks is still your FTW champion. Now, of course, afterwards, Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs decided to keep beating down Matt Sydal. And then, all of a sudden, Lee Moriarty comes down to help even the odds. But of course, Powerhouse Hobbs, just a little too strong for Tiger style. So he was able to get the best of Lee Moriarty. But then Dante Martin came down, and that's pretty much what sealed it, and was able to help withstand Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. So Dante Martin, Lee Moriarty standing tall with Matt Sydal. Even though he lost the title match, they had the last laugh, pretty much. But overall, it was a decent match. And then the main event was the AEW Women's World Championship, as Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, of course accompanied by Rebel and Jamie Hayter, went up against Riho. I have to say, which by the way, Riho I was able to get her attention, and she did spot me with her shirt on, so she did point out to me, so I was happy that she at least spotted me, even though didn't get the chance to show my sign because they took my sign. Anyway, this was a great match. They really told a good story with this match. I mean, Riho gave it everything she could despite the disadvantage in numbers and the constant interference. Now, I know eventually Rebel got sent to the back, but not Jamie Hayter. I don't really know too much of how a deciding factor the interference was, because realistically, looking back at that match, Riho, she was kicking out of a lot of stuff. Although on the stomps from Britt Baker, I felt like Riho oversold a little too much. But, I mean, she was kicking out of everything. She did reverse one lockjaw attempt. And she even was hitting Britt Baker with everything. She didn't get a chance to hit the Somato, but I mean, Riho had a whole bunch of offense just as much as Britt Baker. And I thought it was a pretty cool spot. Her doing the diving double foot stomp on the apron on top of Rebel, who was on top of Britt Baker. I thought that was a pretty cool spot. But these ladies were just tearing it up. I thought they both did great. They told a good story with the match. There were a couple of spots where it could have been a little more cleaner between the two, but overall, I enjoyed this match. But even after repeated kick out attempts from Riho, she did unfortunately fall to the lockjaw, and Britt Baker did make her tap out to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. And thus, the curse has been broken. Britt Baker has finally defeated Riho. Now, this was a great build up to this match. This was a great build up. And like I said, you have to look back at a lot of what Dr. Britt Baker DMD has done since winning that title. I mean, think about it. She won the title beating Sheeta. Not only did she beat Sheeta, she made Sheeta tap out. Nobody else had been able to do that until Britt Baker. So that's a big accomplishment there. Secondly, she had successfully defended the title against Nyla Rose and even made Nyla Rose tap out to lockjaw. And now, Riho, somebody that, for the longest time had not been able to defeat Riho, and she finally broke that curse. And not only did she beat her, she made her submit to the lockjaw. So, I really like how they're booking Britt Baker and just the things that she's been able to do since winning that title. Those are 3 big accomplishments. First one to make Sheeta tap out. First one to make Nyla Rose tap out. And she finally broke the curse of Riho. That's a big deal. But now, it makes me think about this. Now, Britt Baker hasn't submitted either. So I think I could definitely picture Thunder Rosa dethroning Britt Baker, but not just only beating her, but making her submit to the Peruvian necktie. I think that's how they should book Thunder Rosa to defeat Britt Baker when they finally face off for the women's championship. And I'm honestly thinking that maybe they let Britt Baker hold on to that title at least until maybe All Out or perhaps Full Gear. But then again, they got the Owen Cup coming up, which that'll be in May, and they're doing an Owen Cup for the men and the women. So perhaps maybe Double or Nothing, but I think for Britt Baker, I think letting her hold on to the title until at least maybe All Out, I think is fair, because it really comes down to, do they want her to beat Sheeta's record? Because right now Sheeta still holds the record as the longest reigning champion in AEW history, and of course, that also goes for the women's championship. But Britt Baker could surpass that. I mean, after all, she won the title at All Out. So, I mean, shoot. I guess it just comes down to, do they want her to beat Sheeta's record? It's possible. I mean, a lot of folks, despite her being a heel, the fans are behind Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. The fans are behind her. I mean, honestly, being there live, not a whole lot of love for Riho. And I mean, it is what it is. You know, there were some people cheering for Riho, but I mean, the crowd was mostly DMD, which is fine, which is fine. She's very over with the crowd, especially despite being a heel. But one thing that has gotten on my nerves a little bit is seeing all of, especially on Twitter and Instagram, seeing all of the Riho bashing. Like, and it's not just like in general bashing, but it's stupid stuff like, oh, Riho is like 20 pounds. She doesn't even look like a wrestler. She shouldn't be able to pin anybody. I'm like, y'all do realize there have been many scenarios where the smaller wrestler has pinned and defeated the bigger wrestler. It happens quite a lot. Uh, Rey Mysterio, Big Show, Leo Rush, Punisher Martinez, aka Damian Priest, Riho, Nyla Rose. I mean, shoot, Lana has pinned Nia Jax. Despite getting Samoan dropped through 10 tables, Lana has even pinned Nia Jax. Shoot, Bayley has made Nia Jax tap out in NXT. Like, folks act like the smaller wrestler has never beaten the bigger wrestler before. It might not happen as much, but it still happens. It's like, come on, y'all. And then just looking down on her, y'all do also have to remember Riho's been wrestling since she was 9 years old. Now, I mean, if you're not a fan of her in-ring work or if you don't like her style, that's one thing. But a dumbfounded argument like, oh, she doesn't look like a wrestler. She's too small. She's like 20 pounds. Come on now. Come on now. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. Like, seriously. And not only that, apparently folks are bashing Kenny Omega for some dumb reason. Like, I don't get some of these fans. I really don't. I don't get some of these fans. Just the Riho bashing is just, it's ridiculous. You know, it's almost as bad as just, there's even tons of fans that are high on Eva Marie, despite her being terrible in the ring. But nah, they want to bash Riho because she's small. Which, yeah, okay, she's under 100 pounds. Okay, so I guess Cheeseburger isn't a wrestler either. Cheeseburger's not a wrestler. He's a little guy, and yet he was an ROH trainer, head trainer, if I remember correctly. I don't hear anybody saying anything about Cheeseburger. Just stupid stuff like that. Like, really bashing somebody for their size? Come on now. Come on now. There have been plenty of scenarios with the smaller wrestler pinning or submitting the bigger wrestler. It happens sometimes. Regardless of what the promotion is, it can happen. And it's happened plenty of times. Anyway, it looked like Jamie Hayter was going to turn on Britt Baker. Didn't happen. But I say that it didn't happen now. But it could eventually happen, maybe much later. But I liked how they faked like it was going to happen. And, it didn't end up happening. But I think at least some form of a seed was planted that at some point we're going to get Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter. It's eventually going to happen. It's just a matter of time. It may be a while, but it'll eventually happen for sure. I believe it will. But like I said, I see Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, holding on to that title until time for Thunder Rosa. And who knows? Maybe the Owen Cup, maybe Thunder Rosa wins, and maybe that's how she gets her shot, and that's how she defeats Britt Baker. We'll see. We'll see. But it's a lot to look forward to. There are also some cool segments I got to experience, even with the dark matches. Got to slap hands with Jungle Boy, which he had a really sweaty hand. But then again, they're wrestlers; they're gonna be sweaty. It's natural. Got to meet Alan Five Angels, Dark Order's number 10, Preston Vance, Ty Conti. Got a chance to speak to her and high five her. I couldn't take any pictures because I at that time my phone died. This was after the show. Some of the wrestlers did come out to meet with some of the fans. Like had Ty Conti, she came back out. Sammy Guevara, Alan Five Angels, Dark Order's 10, Preston Vance. Who else came out? Who else came out? Oh, Tony Khan. Tony Khan came out as well. Dante Martin got to speak to Dante Martin. Also got to who else did I speak with? Oh, I did get one picture. I got a picture with Wheeler Yuta. I was able to call him up. I like Wheeler Yuta. I really hope that he can grow more and more to a star. I really like Wheeler Yuta. He's a really chill guy. But yeah, so that was a nice little experience at the end. Getting a chance to meet and talk with Ty Conti. That was really cool. She did a lap around the floor taking pictures, and so did Sammy Guevara and Luchasaurus, and Tony Khan even hung out with some of the fans and took some pictures. So I thought that was really cool. But yeah, and like I said, even though didn't get to show off my Riho sign, Riho still spotted me. I was able to get her attention. She saw my shirt and, pointed at me. So thought that was really cool. She did at least spot me. So thank you so much, Riho. I appreciate that. We'll always continue to support you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for AEW Battle of the Belts. Like I said, for that only being an hour long, there was only 3 matches. I know a lot of people were pretty upset about that, but they did make up with some dark matches before and after Battle of the Belt. So I can't complain. I had a good time. So I'm not going to complain. And like I said, for this Wednesday's Dynamite, which will be in my hometown, Raleigh, North Carolina, I'll be at that show as well. That'll be at the PNC Arena. So looking forward to that. And I hope they have a better meet and greet for that show. I know for the Battle of the Belts they had Fuego del Sol, the Gun Club, and Anna Jay. Which I probably could have met Anna Jay, but now if it was somebody like Sheeta or Riho or something like that, I'd be all over that. But we'll see what the meet and greet looks like for the Raleigh show. But looking forward to it. So yeah, I'll be there. I won't be on the floor. I'll be up in the lower level, maybe a little bit higher, but it'll still be fun. It'll still be a lot of fun. I'm gonna enjoy myself. AEW, I'm experiencing an AEW show live, nothing but fun. So I encourage anybody, if you're able to, check out an AEW show in your city, in your town, wherever. Anyway, that's all that I have. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell while you're at it. And thank you so much for watching. This has been another Pro Wrestling Talk brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming. I'm your host once again, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Hope everybody has a blessed day tomorrow, and I will see y'all soon. Night, night, everybody.